Welcome back to my Christmas special and to my last painting. So I continue with my kitty who I started to draw yesterday. So maybe you can have a look and see how it has been done. But now I mix the colors first. So I try to keep quite warm colors. The kitty has largely brown and gray areas, so I use yellow ochre as a base color. I mixed as well some gray out of ultramarine blue, yellow ochre and some crimson red. But first I wet the face of the kitty or the head of the kitty. So as it is quite a small painting and the kitty is relatively little or small, I wet the whole area and then I add some yellow ochre and then I mix as well some yellow ochre and cadmium red, so it gives a really nice warm orange. And I put it on the nose area because on the reference picture it was nicely orange colored. Then I add some purple. I have decided to give the quilt purple shine, so it's purple shades, and I mixed it basically out of ultramarine blue and some crimson red as well. Now I add more of the brown color. As you can see, I mix it here, and it's yellow ochre, ultramarine, and some cadmium red, but more of the yellow and red colors, so it gives a nice brown. And my painting has been still quite wet, but it's already partly drying. However, at the bottom, on the side of the lower side of the kitty, I was still able to add some of the brown, and it mixed nicely with the yellow ochre together, so it has a really nice first layer. As well, I try to emphasize the different stripes or different patterns on the kitty's head as well. Then I add a nice first layer at around underneath the chest area, and as well I wet a little bit on the side with very clean water, so it doesn't give me hard edges and the fur looks a little bit more blurry. I continue with the chin of the kitty, and I have added the same brown as I have used before, but as well some of the crimson red, because later on there's gonna be a little bit, it shows a little bit of the lips. I continue with my quilt and I put a stronger purple and then carefully underneath the paw, and then add some of the red. So I want a little bit of reddish colors. And I continue with the ear. So basically just adding yellow ochre and then some clean water around it, so it's mixing together. When I have finished the first layer for the kitty, I have a nice break and look what else I can do. So I wet the upper half of the paper and add a branch of a spruce there. and I want to add a light bulb. So I use a warm color of deep yellow and then mix it together with cadmium red and add it to this side and a bit around. Everything is nicely still wet, and then I add some of the crimson red, so it gives nice purplish and more of the yellow. Then I focus on the background, and I thought I don't want it to have it too dark, but I wanted to have some coldish colors, and I add some turquoise blue, bluish turquoise blue, and I spread some more as well as adding the paint onto my painting. I use a quite big brush because I don't want to fuss around with it too long. When the background is still wet, you can clearly add some of the loose fur, so it gives a nice wet effect. But here I add as well a very strong layer of turquoise blue and add some salt, so it will give a nice effect there. And I mix the colors for the eyes, so I use some lemon yellow and some turquoise blue, very little adding to it, and it gives really a nice bright green. And I don't cover the highlights. Then of course I continue with the second layer. So I haven't changed much of my colors, and I use the same brown, but here I kind of focus to emphasize the different structures within the different areas of the heads, such as the ears. So it's like a little bit on the side of the ears, adding stronger colors, and then as well within above the eyes, adding here a little bit more darker brown with a thinner brush. If I feel like okay, it has too much of a hard edges and I don't really want it, then while it is still wet, I add some water and I spread the paint. You can of course do it the other way around, which I do here as well when adding the pattern on the side of the head. So just adding a little bit of water on a small area where you add pattern, and then adding the stronger color, so it's a little bit more, having more of a flow effect. And now finally is my grayish colors as well, so underneath, and then I work on the eyes or underneath the nose, which is I think the most challenging part, to emphasize the side of the nose. But I try to work on different areas while the paper is still drying, so adding more layer later on, and then adding with swift brush strokes some more of the fur, but now it has less of blurry edges and it's more of a hard edges. But I really like the combination of both of them, so having a mixture of hard edges and some soft edges. On the left side of the kitty's face, I add more of a nice warm brownish colors, and then I continue with the chest, so it's adding more of the darker gray. I added more of the bluish colors, but I continue here as well with the eye, and I'm quite careful to keep the right form of the eye so that it's on the one side it's really kind of very, very round. It's a bit bulging, and try to not overpaint too much of the form. Basically, I use some indigo blue as well as some paints gray. And then continue with the nose area. So I think here basically the same color, but around the mouth are very strong crimson red. And don't worry that it looks really strong here, it will dry out and it will, the strength fades away, but a little bit more red under the paws. And then working more on the overall structure of the head of the kitty. So having a nice warm orangey brown to this side, and look what the shapes look like. What are the highlights of the kitty's heads, especially on the chin areas and on the side areas. There are more of highlights. As the first layer has a bit faded away because I added more strong of the orange colors, orange brown, I add a strong brown, and it's the same brown that I mixed before, but it's much more stronger in pigment, and now it's mixing nicely with the second layer as well. And then just really emphasizing the different areas. Adding a light layer onto the cheeks, but taking most of the color away or paint away because I didn't want it to be too strong. And then adding those little spots as well. I think now it's just basically adding more of the details, but not too much, and a little bit more harder edges to emphasize the fur patterns. I continue to work with the eye, and here just add more of the turquoise blue to the green so it looks much darker. And I orientate onto the shape of the eyes, so which direction are the highlights leading, and try to add the dark green in this direction. I thought the quilt looks a little bit too pale and mixing too much with the kitty, so to emphasize the kitty's fur, I add a stronger layer of purple as well as a stronger layer of green to the branches of this spruce. However, I will not overwork it too much, and just adding another layer of orange around the light bulb and a little bit to the side. And that's basically it when it comes to the branch. But with the kitty, I thought maybe adding some more stronger layers to the bottom half, and as well the pupil is still, or the iris is still missing. So having a paint gray and indigo blue mixture and a bit more stronger, as well as spreading the strong green, so it's kind of like mixing with the light green together as eyes. I tried not to have too many hard edges within the eyes and to keep really the nice form of the eyes. I added a little bit more green for the balance underneath the chin, and here that's stronger brown around the different patterns and eyes as well. So it looks much more defined as well on both the cheeks and within the ears, some more dark colors. The eyebrows need a little bit more of a definition. The layer itself is not that strong anymore, and more shadow area around the nose to emphasize the shape of the nose bridge, basically. I believe that's what it is called. But I didn't want to have too strong brown colors because I really like the orange. And then adding more of a single features, such as for example some hair at the top of at the tip of the ear, a little bit underneath the chin, and on the side of the head, so a little bit on the ear. And then maybe it would have been a good idea to add the whiskers beforehand with masking fluid, but I haven't done it, so I just add with some white gouache some whiskers there. So with stronger colors, and remember to use swift movements. But that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you Merry Christmas and bye!